It's the biggest, most complete experience we've ever made, by far. It's 22 levels. It's really an epic. I think fans, they're just going to be blown away at the scale, the polish, just the overall scope of the game. More enemies than we've ever had, some of the biggest spaces ever. Technology, it's got it all performing, incredibly well. So it's just really an incredible experience, and definitely our biggest and our best. There's so much new in the game. I mean, your weapon wheel alone has so many new guns on it. We just started right there. We wanted to make sure that there's just no gun is the same as it was. Like there's so many innovations in the game and with your abilities. And then the shield, I would say the shield is probably the most noticeable new entry into the series. It's not a gimmick. You use it for everything. So it's a huge part of the game. And we're most proud of the synergy that we've achieved between your three core abilities of melee, shield, and guns. You see when you play that you use them in combination with each other. That's by design. There's just a ton of depth behind those three core mechanics. And so it's something we worked really hard on.
Seismic activity detected near the wall.
I think when people think of premium single-player action games, they think action. They think some sort of innovative combat. They want a really satisfying exploration and a lot of it, and they want a great story. And so that's what we focused on with this game. Typically, Doom games really hyper-focus on combat. We've got combat for days. I mean, that is and will always be the most important pillar, to a Doom game. To id games, I would say. But this time around, I think you've noticed, if you had a chance in the press build, like we've really just expanded on the exploration while simultaneously streamlining the currencies. So I think you're searching for fewer things, but there's more of them hidden in the world. Exploration is all about progression, and progression is tied to power. It's power through progression. So the more you explore, the stronger you'll become with the assets that you find. And then a story that really keeps you engaged. That's really what I think people expect from the single-player AAA genre, and we're happy to provide that for them this time. We wanted the game to feel cinematic. We wanted to expand the scope of the conflict that you were having with the demons. You had a battle with the demons, before, a fight with the demons in 2016 that, expanded to feel more like a battle in Eternal, and now it's a war. I mean, you're having a war with demons. They know you're coming. They're set up in phalanx. They're prepared for the arrival of the Slayer, and it feels that way. As you break through the enemy lines and kill the leaders. So the Atlan and the Dragon really just they just help to make the game to expand the scale of the game, and the wow factor. The word epic is kind of overused, but it does feel like an epic journey. And we wanted to make mechs and dragons for several games now. We've been planting the seeds around those core features for Eternal and the DLCs. You rode a dragon in the DLCs, and then you've certainly seen a million mechs all over Eternal, and it was talked about in the previous game. So all of these are just game features that we've wanted to make for a long time. By not making multiplayer and focusing all of our time and energy on just a full-blown killer premium single-player game, we were able to finally, have the resources to be able to execute on these ideas. We wanted to make this game for like 8 years. When we wrote the Slayer's Testaments, we talked about the Slayer's past. Typically, when you're developing IPs, you want to give your heroes a backstory, something that's interesting. It can't just be a sword. It has to be a sword made by this person's grandfather from this really, hard to find steel, blah, blah, blah. So you come up with all that fiction, and if you're fortunate and the fans like what you made, then you get to make more content, and eventually you could explore that really cool history and your hero's past, and that's what we've been able to do here. I can't say when it's coming out, but there'll be a standalone DLC. The story for Dark Ages will certainly have a beginning, middle, and very satisfying end. It doesn't end with a period. It ends with an exclamation point. And I think that we're making a complete experience. So I don't want fans to think that we're like, sequel baiting and you don't really get a final satisfying conclusion in this because you have to buy the DLC. No, this will have a satisfying conclusion, and then we'll tell another standalone story, another chapter from the Chronicles of the Slayer and his time with the Sentinels. We'll tell that in the DLC. Microsoft really empowered us to make our best Doom game. That's for certain. We feel just really supported, and that's sincere. I mean, look at the game. The game is the biggest it's ever been, and there's things in the game that, if you told us in 2016 that we'd be able to have the resources, it was always the issue. We had the ideas, but the resources was really the challenge. So a lot of that involved like not making a multiplayer, but then also a big part of it was just the support that we've received from Microsoft. They really enabled us to make the best game we possibly could.